agenda up. Well, I think I can remember it all. Start this special meeting of the joint City of Driggs and Teton Park and Recreation meeting. Note that the three directors,
Board members.
board members are present. Were there any additions to the agenda?
Just the last one I had.
That should be on there. Correct. Selection of a chair.
Yes, that was added.
With that, anyone make a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the agenda, right?
Yes, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. First, bit of information or first item on the agenda is selection of a chair. Anybody want to volunteer? It's basically just to run the meeting. I can do it if you want to.
You want to keep running them? That's great.
I want to make a motion.
Motion to appoint John chair. Teton County District Joint Powers Board.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So next on the agenda, I think I sent to you earlier this week, we had a special meeting of the rec board and for multiple different things. But one of the things we discussed was kind of trying to get a template for all projects that come from a different joint powers agreement. So that we're looking at all the same kind of right. Think about it. So I chose us as, or we decided to use the Driggs one as kind of a test case to see, does this work? What do we need to add? And so the idea is we'll go through today, we can see what Libby had sent it to Libby and apologize profusely that we gave it to her at the last minute, but she and Jade, I think, put them all in that. I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I wonder,
Yeah.
could we pull that up on here? Or
Agenda?
The email from Libby. Is that something we can do?
Here knows. Did I receive that email?
I think I forwarded it to you too. I sent it to these guys. Or we can hold it. Just talk about it. I'll forward it to you again, so you have it. Right up the top of your list there.
Says it's in the center.
What time, what day was that sent? Oh, check time. I think.
Well, we can just walk through them here. I don't know if you can pull it up on your phone or not. Whatever works best or.
Project request, is that what we're looking for?
It was
Joint power, joint project. I think.
Okay. Okay, scared to attach the TV because we screwed up last time. But we'll see what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we got.
We might lose the camera.
Yeah, so we'll just start while she's trying to do this. The first one's the dugout roofs. And this first description is kind of a catch-all. And that's one of the things that the rec board really wants to make sure is addressed. And that's the project that we pursue, excellent here, is, that's cool, is, has broad application to everybody in town. So, for example, there was one of our meetings, there was a discussion of doing work at the rodeo grounds in Teton. And our legal counsel he was online when we were having this discussion. Well, that's just a place where people sit and watch people roping cows. And he said, that really doesn't fit that category of everybody use it. Then we talked through it and said, described how this ground is actually being owned. And so that's kind of a catch-all, so it's something that a project that is only, let's say, one of the community parks that doesn't want to allow other people in it. We would, as rec district, wouldn't probably want to consider that, really, because these dollars and help everybody. And so that's kind of a catch-all statement to make sure that when we put together a project, yeah, that it. Right. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So. Yeah, so. Lions Park, this is the, and you guys are well aware, or you've been working these for the last 6 months, so this is the. Kind of a description of what's there already. And I think as far as there is a facility plan, again, that's kind of our, how does this fit into planning? And I think is our master plan reaches near completion, we'll start to work these types of projects in thought process of your plans and our plans and vice versa. So kind of,
Yeah.
So that you've got a plan that this fits into. It's not this one. Fees charged, that's sort of part of that does come back to if this was a project that there were fees directly associated with that project, then there's some stuff. Okay. Yeah, and then what the project is, description, and then a schedule time. Is there anything? What are your thoughts on anything else about?
As far as the template goes,
Yeah, and I mean thinking about it from a standpoint of how maybe from as tuned to the city's needs, but to make it maybe more, I don't know, the word's not powerful. Make this help itself, basically. What's the benefit?
the projects themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about, or to help compare it to other projects.
The only thing I can think of is in regards to the fees, yes, there might be fees charged at Lions Park, but they are going towards other amenities and services at the park. So like, the dugout roofs were kind of a special ask, and the other ongoing maintenance, like fixing the field and things like that, are kind of where I think the fees are being directed.
Right.
So I don't know if that's clear with the fee component on these or not, or if there needs to be an explanation of like currently, the fees that are being charged are just maintaining current state. It's not enough to cover improvements or, et cetera. If that would be helpful for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to note that, this is the current, but there's no fees associated.
Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, there's not a huge copper of these fees going in. We've had a bunch of discussions about trash cans and how those are going to get paid for. And there's been some discussion around adding onto the fees or something to that to help leverage trash cans or something. So,
yeah, I think that's good thing. You did mention something though, when you talked about fixing the field. We had put some money in the budget last year for dealing with the hump that's out there.
that might have been the money that was used to do it. And then there's
So, but it's been done, hasn't it? Because I think I asked that question. I said, yeah, I think.
Lions Park, I don't believe.
And then there was also irrigation issues there. I don't know if that was part that they were looking to fix this year, and that was.
I think that's one of them.
Let's look, yeah, so this is this particular project is the the shade plow.
And I was just referring to Lions. That was the irrigation they were gonna redo.
Yeah,
Currently, the sprinklers don't overlap, and so I know that was a project as well for this year.
yeah. Okay, there's that one. Thought there was, I thought,
This is the irrigation.
Page 4,
yeah, I'm looking for that.
page 4.
Yeah, so yeah, let's look at that one real quick, since we were talking about Lions Park. Approved irrigation improvements out. Out the grass area irrigation.
Hi, everyone. Not to interrupt, but I just wanted to let you know City of Driggs is here if you guys have any questions for us. It's Jade, Libby, and Jay. So
Hi Jade, Libby and Jake.
So,
Irrigation improvements, yeah. That's that piece. Yeah, Jade, maybe you can answer this question. There was a year ago, one of the issues that was brought up was I don't know what exactly it's called, but the infield, outfield bump.
I think that's talked about in
yeah,
Foundation one.
that was fixed at City Park, but not yet at Lions Park.
And that's part of the request of the irrigation. That's I think, one of the other requests.
Is that
has the city used any rec district money to fix
No.
that?
No, because
So-
we haven't had anything approved yet.
Right.
Right, yeah, we're
That's
good.
what I
So that fixing of that bump is not included in here, in one of these
We
projects?
put $8,000 for
No,
it's
that is
just
not.
irrigation,
That's
yeah.
just the irrigation portion.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I guess, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that is something we specifically put in our budget last year to do. And so I think it would be beneficial to include that.
We'd love if you include that.
Yeah, that's about a $9,000 cost.
I figured you'd appreciate that. Yeah, so that's one, so,
And if I would say this, just in terms of timing and field use, that's not one we will undertake this summer because it disrupts the current field use. It's one we would either do late fall, which is next fiscal year, or early spring.
So it'd be perfect.
yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's best to do it late in the fall, but let's think about, and I guess ask the fellow people here, is that something? I think that's something we'd entertain since we had planned and set that aside to do, so maybe prepare a similar type document for that.
For the same budget or a separate?
It's for additional money. We had separate money set aside for that, right? Separate pile of money for that.
John, can I ask
Yeah.
a clarification? Are you asking the City of Driggs to submit another a similar sheet for that project for fiscal year 26 or 7?
For 26 money, yeah,
Okay, we will submit that.
yep. I think we can get things in the get them up and running, or even if the work actually happens next year, I think maybe we can dedicate the money before, because we put it in our budget last year because it was both the city and multiple nonprofits expressed concern about that, so we put money for all 3 cities to do that.
So that was approved in a 25 budget by the county.
26 budget.
26
Right,
budget,
district,
okay.
yeah. Well, it's, yeah. We
And then
have,
I've got a little confusion because I feel like the last 6 months, the main projects that I kind of sent you earlier were what were kind of talked about at the Parks Committee level for money to spend this year for rec district. And then I see some more stuff added in right now. So
Yeah, well, these are things, and I know I asked, I thought I asked the question a while back. And was, so whether that had been taken care of. And I think must have been city park that was taken care of.
Yep.
But this one wasn't.
Was not,
so,
yeah.
But we had set separate funds aside, separate from money going to the city.
Yep.
Cause at the time we thought, well, we'll just have this.
Gotcha.
Maybe we can line up, and this was our thinking a year ago, maybe we can line up a contractor to go through and do them all at once and save us some money, but.
And then since my involvement with the Parks Committee late last fall, seemed like it was already money had there, it was said and done, it just needed to get done.
I guess I wasn't aware. It was already planned since I do that.
We hadn't really talked about it, so.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, so if we, that's something we can. Future.
Yeah, I feel like the Parks and Rec Committee has been kind of working with a budget that we were given. So those
Right.
projects were not included in it, and that's where my confusion
Yep.
stands.
Understand completely, yeah. Okay, so let's back up here. We talked about both those two park projects.
Yeah, what do we need to go through these one by one till I?
Yeah, was there anything we want to add? I mean, I think we've all seen them pretty well. Because they've been vetted, park thing. Thoughts and things you wanna,
No, well, the one thing we talked about that I think kind of went back and forth, at one point, we thought maybe we could fit all of these under budget. And then I think later, we thought maybe they would all, we could afford all of them under the budget. But if it comes down to it, when we prioritize them, the dugout roof, I want to say was at the bottom of the priorities. So just something to note when you guys do this.
so why don't we put that as priorities? Cause they're not prioritized here,
And I don't think there's been discussion on priority 1, 2, or 3 for these. I think
It was just,
it was that if one needed to go.
Oh,
yeah,
So the priority
they were all,
5,
there was enough that we knew we could fit pretty much all but one. And so the discussion was if we had to drop one, which one? And it was the dugout roof.
yeah, Libby and Jade, the one thing that I think would be nice to have with these is the backup that supports the cost estimate. So any
Do
bids
you just
you
want
have,
the staff report that shows the research I've done on those items?
if
from
that,
previous
yeah,
meetings?
yeah, maybe I can just extract them out of there.
Okay, we can send that to you.
Yeah, just thinking, so you have a kind of a standalone, here's a project, here's the basis for this cost. It's a bid or it's a research or have we come up with it. Just to help our level of confidence in it.
And John, just to be clear on this, these will never be bids. We can't bid without actually having the money. So these will be estimated costs for
Sure.
each of these projects. Because we can never get a hard cost until we actually have funding.
Right, no, I understand. Yeah. And of course, you'll eat all the overruns, right, Jay?
Too, which is good.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, of course, you'll eat all the overruns, right, Jay?
We try to incorporate that in our estimated cost and give us enough of a buffer, knowing that they are an estimated cost.
Yep, no, I understand. Second one, here's the gazebo, Skidmore Park. Treadmore, excuse me, Skidmore. Skidmore Park.
That would be a good-
Skidmore
Works
construction.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've looked at them just from when. Oh,
that when you take them back to the rec district board, you may have questions.
it's hard to say. I mean, this is kind of the first up, and so I think we haven't really met as a group I mean, we talked philosophically about what projects we think we support. The section, so I think most of these kind of fall into that realm.
The only one, maybe on this one, I could see if you get it back to the rec district board, because this is Mount Treadmore. It's, technically, I think it's community park,
Is a city park.
a city park, right, well, it's,
The community, the neighborhood.
it's a neighborhood.
Just showing you
Yeah,
our thing
right.
there.
Well, yeah, it is a city park, but you know, I could see if you take it back to the restaurant, or
Yeah, that'd be one.
think of it. But, I guess something to keep in mind with it, if you have an issue like the future plans, is that there'll be a park just across the street that is bigger and has, you know, maybe 2 soccer fields. So it'll be part of a large park complex that could even be,
Yeah.
even much bigger with what might happen in Shoshone Plains, like, future phases with it maybe turning into park.
Well, I think the current city park is 5 acres, it just hasn't
Yeah.
been developed. And then that was an existing foundation.
Isn't there a schedule field, soccer field in that 5 acres? Or that's going back.
I don't think there's.
But there
anything-
will, I mean, it looks like there will be soccer fields directly across the street.
Right.
That will be, you know, a separate park, but essentially kind of complex, divided by a street.
Yeah, no,
So if there's an issue with it because it's a smaller park, like, I wish you could money for this, because it's a community park, not for my benefit,
Mhm.
county.
Mhm.
Look into the future, I think it's
Yeah.
more warranted.
And I think that one of the pieces here too is that foundation that's there is just sitting there empty.
Oh,
And this is one, you know.
Taking advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things neglected.
Yeah.
Neglected construction. So that's a good point. Yeah. There was a question though, when I was talking to somebody yesterday, they mentioned, that in the winter, somebody's kids, they were sledding on Mount Redmore, and that there was metal that came back and cut out like barbed wire down to the snow level and stuff. Does anybody, I hadn't gone and looked at it to see if that was just
There's 2 hills there, Mount Shredmore technically, where there's actually like a little USGS placard. It's a much more appropriate sled hill, in my opinion. A little mound of dirt kind of right by the gazebo is, you kids can run into the trees that are there if they're going off the wrong side. It just depends on what's kind of going there. It's a little steeper hill, but I'd say the primary sledding hill is further to the east of that main mound. That's kind of right there. And then these guys were talking, I think the costs were just prohibitive, but they were trying to work into that playground, a slide kind of coming off that little mound, but I think the costs were just prohibitive to do that.
Yeah, my only question was whether there, you know, I didn't have a chance to go look at it, whether
Yeah.
there's any, you know, old construction debris. Something seemed kind of odd. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's barbed wire out in that area. I mean, right now it's probably the heaviest use that it's getting is dog walkers. And then the playground is getting used a lot more. It went in quite late last year, so it didn't pick up a ton of use. But I'd say over the last month with the nice weather, I mean, there's people there daily hitting the slides or swings, and playing on it and stuff. Cool.
irrigation improvements we talked about. Skate park lighting, I think that's pretty straightforward.
And that, I'd say, throughout the discussions has probably been one of the most consistent top priorities.
Yeah, I was sitting out there waiting for people to ride with a month or so ago. Plate wires coming out.
Yeah,
I assumed, I didn't test it to see if it was hot, but I assumed it was hot. I was hoping it was hot. I noticed the other day it was covered up. One question, Jay, I don't know if you were in that conversation, a while back, I asked about the old, stage there at City Park. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
That's the same.
And that whether that was gonna be torn down or what, it was kind of a hazard, it seemed like.
Yep, you'll be seeing that in our 2027, potentially in our 2027 request. That hasn't come in front of the Parks and Rec Committee at this point, but it's part of our discussion items for our 2027 request.
Okay, to get rid of it or to upgrade it, just curious.
We got to bring it to our Parks Committee first, and then we'll bring it to you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, maybe a good point of clarification and timing on our end is that we're gonna start those conversations as a Parks Committee next week for
Cool.
fiscal year 27. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, anything we can get, that supports our budget to make our budget more solid this year would be great. Last year we were just kind of throwing things at the wall. Now we're trying to pull them all the wall and put them into use, so.
Yep, I believe we're on your agenda for next week.
Yeah,
To present to you. So that'll be part of that whole pitch is the 2027 piece.
cool. Yeah, I think I'm good with
What,
moving these projects forward.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, again, like I say, this is a kind of a first cut at this format. And,
And then I guess that could be another point, if this is something you're asking for all the cities to kind of put forward, is maybe to also do these in some sort of ranking as far as priorities are concerned, if that would be helpful for you guys.
Yeah, so sort of, kind of the thought process. Of course, everything behind. But if we had, the master recreation access plan, that'd help define, the long-term goals, 5, 10, 20-year goals, what the district wants to pursue. And then figure out, how do all these line in? And so, ideally, we'd have, and I don't think it's gonna happen this year just because of timing. But
Yes,
let's say next year, ideally, we're talking about 2028 budget in March, in April, and then we get all those together and can prioritize them over. So we're not, because we've been trying to, at least personally, trying to avoid getting into the position of saying, we're gonna give 200K to Driggs and 200K to Victor and 200K to Teton or something, but trying to say, hey, which project best support the community as a whole?
Yeah.
And so, and then trying to prioritize those instead of just dumping money in one place.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think the board's kind of, I think, on line with that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I understood it on the Parks Committee was these were kind of like, hey, what can we use these funds for that are immediate needs that we could address? And then, I guess going forward, we're gonna need to kind of be looking at that, 30,000-foot view of like, what do we need to start saving for long-term project wise?
Yeah.
What are the priorities here and now,
Yeah.
5, 10, 20 years?
Well, I'll make a motion to forward these 5 projects we had here. 5 projects. Might be more than just 5 pages.
Bye.
These 5 projects to the Teton Valley Parks Creation Board for discussion, hopefully approval. Second motion. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Cool. Motion passes. See where that goes. Next thing on the agenda is last year, there was one organization, it was SWAT, that was concerned that there were no around in the parks at all. And them, and I think another organization also expressed interest in benches. I think a lot of these, like at City Park, if there'd be some around to walk with. And so I kind of wanted to enter into that, again, thinking about that, her issues and Katie will always, she's always good at telling me all the problems with doing everything.
Just showing up what the challenges could
The
be.
challenge would be with maintenance and such. but I know a lot of the, different nonprofits that use parks, you know, like soccer teams, like TVA,
Yeah.
they have horrible ones. Pretty hard to maintain and expensive. But they're also have a permanent one that's also. But I kind of want to enter the discussion of something, you know.
Well, last time we were here, we kind of talked about this too, and it sounded like there might be some circling back with the fire department on this to kind of see some feasibility. Was any of that done or?
No, I don't think we have.
Okay.
No, so I looked at sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
You were.
I got on the website that does AED grants and I applied for 2. And all they do is expect that we contact the fire department and EMTs to let them know that we put them up so that they can
Okay.
expect to add it to their calendar or their map
Yep.
of where AEDs are accessible. So we'll see if we get them, but I applied for 2.
And the upkeep is expensive on it. Is that what your understanding is? Or?
No, what needs to happen is it's gonna need to be put into a rotation of staff who goes out and double checks them. So like when I worked for the town of Frisco, we had AEDs everywhere that we had recreational opportunities.
Yep.
And our parks guys, first thing in the morning, would go through the buildings. And if they heard anything beeping, they had batteries on hand to replace. If the pads looked like they had been used or messed with, they have those to replace.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that there's somebody that has a consistent schedule to check and make sure they haven't been tampered with, messed with, stolen,
Yeah.
used.
Yeah, and I think most of ours would be outside, you know, the outside ones that are one with that.
Yeah.
And there's, yeah, always potential for that. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So why don't we, that's something, Katie, check with the fire department, say, hey, we're interested in maybe placing AEDs throughout some of the parks within the city in general and see what their response is. And maybe that's something, if they have an opinion on what we should or should.
Is it a daily check that's required or?
I mean, it would be nice to have somebody who's already out there checking buildings to go through the parks. That's where they're gonna be. But the batteries last for a
Yeah.
fairly long time.
And I could be wrong in this, but I think Primrose Park's bathroom is locked and unlocked manually every day. So that could be a very easy one to put an AED at if somebody is having to physically go there twice a day.
Yeah,
Yeah, seems like it ought to be outside though.
Well, it could be mounted
Yeah.
on the outside of the bathroom.
Yeah, somebody's checking it.
Yeah, or it could be in there's that little covered area. It's not the best post to put it on and stuff,
Yeah.
right at the playground. But I'm just thinking from like if Brian Pence or somebody is the one that ends up checking these. That's already in kind of his rotations and isn't adding additional work location wise.
Yeah, would it be feasible to put time locks?
They
There-
have put a time lock at the Shredmore bathroom as a test case,
Okay,
but that's, I think, the only one that is actively on a time clock, like.
Can
Yeah.
we add to this conversation?
sure.
Sure. Yeah, the city's goal is not to have manpower going out at 6 a.m. to unlock our bathrooms. And so Shredmore Park was a trial with a magnetic time locked. And the plan is to install those at all of our park bathrooms because we don't have the staffing to do daily rounds at parks.
Yeah.
So the big picture plan is to install a mag lock at Primrose and then subsequently at Lions Park to prevent midnight vandalism and partying in the bathrooms, which scary enough does happen. So that's the big picture for that. Just because we don't have staff resources, our current staff member's gone for the next week, and so we have our on-call staff member using overtime to unlock the bathrooms.
That, yeah. Seems like a good place for.
So
non-minute lock.
I guess it would be good if we're looking into the AEDs to find out what's the minimum frequency that they have to check. Or we're asking somebody.
I think something to also consider is, are we doing this as a test to see how they go. There's a lot of, because they're so expensive, there have been a lot of thefts
Hmm.
of AEDs, whether they're in a box or not, you have to have access to them. So you can
Yeah,
break the
right,
box,
that's the
pull those
problem.
things out, and then
Yeah.
you're gone. But those, they can get up to $4,000 or $5,000 depending on what the city purchases. So that's something to also consider is if we try this and then they get stolen, are we gonna keep replacing them? Cause that tends to be a pretty expensive cost.
Yeah, 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 well, that's something, I mean. We need to, I mean, do some research to see what makes sense, what's the right. I mean, I know they do have them outside, and the parks have them. Seems like a pretty good thing. We'll save somebody's life, so. Okay,
Just one more thing to consider.
The benches were talked about, you know, the city staff might have a little more details. They said they did have some and plans where they go. I'm not exactly sure what they were thinking. And then City Park currently, in my opinion, you know, has them on 2 of the 4 corners already with the, you know, there's a picnic table over by one of the baseball diamonds. And then there's also the gazebo-y kind of thing that has a bunch of benches in there as well.
oh, okay, so. Yeah,
Yeah, was there any more specific areas where they?
yeah, I think they were just looking, and I always think of it like my mother. Who's 94, she lives over by herself on the Snake River Road, Swan Valley, and she lives a 1/4 mile to the road from her house. And so there's little wood-built log benches every 100 yards. Goes and walks out there with her canes. Someday I'm gonna find her out there with her canes. But that's okay. So. And so there's a place she can stop as she goes.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the discussion that the SWAT folks had. Was, people do go, they're looking for places to walk.
Yep.
And they walk around the park, if they have a place to stop on the bench, rest or just think or talk. Nice. And one of the things, like you say, the gazebo there, that shelter has those, but if somebody, if it's being used, they might.
Understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of relatively inexpensive. Something to think about. Cool.
I saw, they put a couple one in at Primrose, but those are like by the playground.
Yeah, and I know I'd asked Doug, Jay probably knows the answer, I can't remember that pathway there. North-south pathway to the east of Primrose Park that's unmaintained.
Oh, yeah, I think that's.
We're working with Tributary to fix that.
Yeah. You'd need a machete to walk it.
It's a large scale project that we're working with a developer to remove and replace, and it's on a multi-year plan. So we're working on it, but I wouldn't think that's something that the rec district at this point would want to weigh in.
No,
Trust me.
no, anything we don't want to help. Off the record, we don't want to help anything tributary anyways. Yeah, they can fix it. Cool. Anything else?
I don't think so. Just looking forward, is anything more as this kind of partnership develops that I guess you see us needing to do to kind of help facilitate these meetings or preparation or anything?
I think it's just, I just think we need to just. It's kind of a funny because like we've had this discussion because Driggs has such an active parks committee already. We're kind of sort of a little bit of a go-between, but there's so much work that's done in that committee, kind of, bring it here, kind of, we're kind of a formal. At this point. Yeah, I think, for us, I think for me, the most important thing in the next few months is trying to really identify good, solid projects so that we can get online for next year.
So what, were you at the last Driggs Parks meeting.
I don't think I want to.
So we had two guys from Public Works were there. They put together a list from their perspective of, maintenance items. Basically every city park, some of them are aware,
Mhm.
but like stuff that we as the Parks Committee like weren't aware of.
Oh, okay.
And they were, I think they were working on, they had put, kind of prioritized it. And I met with Jade and Libby, and I think that's part of what, I'm
They're gonna
assuming that's
present
part of
this
what will
next week.
go over next week.
Yeah.
Cause some of that stuff, we were like, oh, we didn't think that at all. They were like, yeah. And like, I mean, a lot, it was a lot, so
Mhm.
it's good, you know, it's not where you get all of it.
Right.
And so that was also what kind of came up in the Parks Committee, of like, if we do need to abandon any of these projects, it was kind of the Lion dugout and the shade sails at Lion Park that to maybe put money towards some of these ongoing other maintenance issues that we weren't aware of.
Yeah, unfortunately, they gave us a list after we had made these 5 items. But it kind of showed us this more full circle because we've been having all these trash can talks, you know, that we're
Right.
going. And they presented this list of like, you know, thousands of dollars worth of maintenance work,
Mhm.
existing facilities. And so it's just good to see from their perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's important, one of the things I think is important from the rec district standpoint is applying money to neglected maintenance issues, and that's part of, let's get those things fixed and get
Right.
everything up.
Yeah.
Up to quality that we want it, and then also as part of that, things that reduce long-term operating costs or maintenance costs in the future, so if we invest now to reduce those costs, and that's what the locks are a good example to me,
Yeah.
right? You've got somebody going out there. to get rid of
100%.
that.
It also sounded like the city was also working on that. In the past, some of these things have been done out of public work funds and it hasn't been clear how much has actually been
Mm.
going into the parks. And so it sounds like that is an ongoing working project.
Trying to figure out. what
To
that-
actually
that's a good
delineate
thing,
park
yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
and public work things,
Yeah, that
so,
makes
yeah.
Yeah.
But they were asked to kind of put a budget together and approve the lists. I don't know. for this meeting next week.
Motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Adjourn the meeting.